The gospel this morning is one where, as we listen to it, as we listen to Jesus talk, we might get excited at first. But then if we listen closely and think about it, it might make us question if we're going to lose our breakfast. You see, just as Abram and Sarai were told that no, their slave was not going to be their heir, they were going to have as many descendants as stars in the sky. This passage is about Jesus telling us to get ready to change. Get ready for the unexpected. Because God is going to stir things up for God's good pleasure. Have you ever experienced that? I have. Near late spring of 2005, maybe early summer, I was working as a youth minister at a Lutheran church in South Sacramento. It was fine, but I started feeling this stirring, this restlessness, like something had to change, but I wasn't quite sure what or when or where or why or who or how. And I tried to ignore it. And then one day I was talking to my friend Monica. And what you need to know about Monica to appreciate what she had to say to me was that Monica was one of those people who identified as being Catholic but never ever went to church because she had problems with what they taught and she never connected to a priest, and she didn't make an effort to build relationships in the congregation, but rather than go to any other church that might fit her better, she just didn't go at all. You know the type? And so it was a little surprising for Monica to, out of the blue, have this prophetic voice where she told me, "You need to go to seminary. You don't even go to church." But when she said it, it felt like a punch to the gut. And this wave of nausea came over me, and I wanted to throw up. Because I didn't want to be a pastor. Pastors have to preach. And they have to work in churches with people who never want to change as fast as the pastor wants them to change. And they have to preach. And they have to go to many years of school. And they have to preach. And I don't like public speaking. And pastors have to preach. So I promptly laughed at Monica and ignored her. Or at least I tried. But her voice kept echoing inside my head. It would not shut up. And then a few days later, I was having lunch with my parents, and my dad, looking right at him, he didn't know he was going to be in the sermon today, out of the blue, had the audacity to ask me when I was going to seminary. And I said, "No, that's not happening, not ever. Stop that." And when he said that, I have to tell you, it felt like a punch to the gut. And a wave of nausea came over me, and I wasn't sure if I could keep our lunch down. Because I I didn't want to do that. And I tried to silence his voice too, but now I had both of their voices in the back of my head. And I could not get them to be quiet. And I started wondering if this was in fact the answer to that restlessness that I had been feeling. And I really, really did not want it to be. And so I didn't tell anyone I did this, but I made a deal with God, which I do not recommend. It never works out in your favor. At least not, it doesn't work out the way you want it to work out, let me put it that way. And I said, okay, God, I keep feeling sick to my stomach and I keep hearing these voices, so if this is really you speaking through these other people, then in the next week, I need one other person to tell me that I need to become a pastor. But it can't be this person, this person, this person, this person, this person. Anyone who had ever hinted remotely that they thought I should go to seminary or become a pastor, they were out. And it couldn't be because they thought that youth ministry wasn't a grown-up job, because it is. And that could not be part of it. So a couple days later, I had a parent turn in a permission form for their youth to go on some events, and it was in an envelope that said, Pastor Kirsten. And I said, oh, no, 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 no. First of all, that is not my name. I am not Kristen. I am Kirsten. No. Secondly, no, that was not the deal, God. That's not working. Sorry. Nice try. And we kept going. And then on the last day, I thought I was home free. And I was in the car with my husband, who didn't know any of this was going on. And he randomly, I don't think he knew what he was saying, or he probably wouldn't have said it, but he told me that I should be a pastor. And I might have uttered some expletives in his general direction. But a deal was a deal. So that fall, I started taking classes at Pacific Lutheran Theological Seminary in Berkeley. That fall happens to be when you all ended your relationship with your last called pastor before me. Even though seminary full-time usually takes 4 years, I was commuting and working and birthing children, so it took me a little over 8. And during that time, I learned a lot, and I grew a lot, and I changed a lot, and I got ready for you. And during that time, you all had 3 amazing interims who helped you heal, who helped you grow, who helped you change and be open to the idea of a woman pastor. And you all got ready for me. And then it happened. 5 years ago yesterday, in this very spot, many of you were here, when the Spirit stirred and I was ordained and installed as your pastor. And the last 5 years have been amazing and beautiful, and I have experienced the kingdom of heaven within you all. It has been an adventure and my pleasure. And on that day 5 years ago, I didn't even throw up. I thought I was going to, but I didn't. And that is sometimes how God works. Sometimes God makes makes us want to puke. It happens. And that's what I hear in the gospel this morning. You see, Jesus is speaking to this crowd. And or he's speaking to his disciples. If you read the next verse, they're not quite sure who he's talking to. They're like, are you talking to them or us? Or I think it's everybody. And Jesus tells his little flock, do not be afraid. For God's good pleasure is to give you the kingdom. That phrase, do not be afraid, I think that's often what makes us sick, when we're afraid. But that's the same phrase that's used in the gospel whenever angels show up. And I think that makes sense. Because sometimes we are very afraid when God is stirring things up. When God is asking us to change and do something new and different. Something we've never done before. Be someone we've never been before. And I think it's normal to be afraid when we encounter that which is divine. Because it's pretty amazing. And it's not status quo. And we don't get to stay in the same spot that we were, that was comfortable. And when Jesus calls us his little flock, those are important words. Because Jesus is reminding us that we belong to the Good Shepherd. We're not in this alone. We are God's beloved children. We are God's treasure.
Why?
We are God's heart. And God is our God. And as our Creator, God has some pretty great plans in store for us. And so in this passage that you heard today, Jesus is saying, get ready for the unexpected. Dress for action, for that which you can't even imagine. Be prepared for God to surprise you, to show up in the middle of the night, or in people or places you wouldn't think God would ever be. And sometimes when God surprises us, it might make us want to throw up. Because it means that God is disrupting all of our ideas, all of our plans, all of the ways that we think things ought to be. And we know that when God is stirring things up, well, we're God's hands and feet, so there's going to be work to do, and there's going to be change that needs to happen, and that's probably going to involve us on both fronts. But it's all for God's good pleasure. So I ask you, are you able to listen to those voices of God trying to disrupt your life? Are they voices spoken from God that maybe we don't always like, Maybe they make us feel a little nauseated because it's different and it's change and it challenges us and we're not sure we can do it. Maybe some of you are being called to feed the hungry, to care for the sick, to speak up for the marginalized. Maybe some of you are being kicked in the butt to get up and actually start to learn about people who are different than you and understand their stories so that we can better share the good news in word and action with them in ways that they can hear. Maybe for some of you, God's saying, it's time to get to the hard work of overcoming addictions, whether it is greed or gossip or substance or self-doubt. Maybe some of you are being told, now, find a way to forgive and make amendments with that person who you don't even want to talk to. And I think for many of us, maybe for all of us, God is waiting for us to delight in the gifts that we have been given, to take pride in our talents that we try to deny are even talents, and to use them to change the world for God's glory. Because I believe part of why I have been sick to my stomach 5 years ago, well, 14 years ago, the whole time, is to make sure you all know that God has use for you. God needs you. And sometimes when God calls us, it does make us sick to our stomach. And we can try to just live in that nausea and moan and groan and try to deal with it, but it's not going away. Or we can just sit in front of the toilet, so to speak, and get it over with. Because Jesus is telling us today, we need to get ready. Because the kingdom of heaven is near. And the kingdom of heaven is here. And it is God's good pleasure to share with you God's treasure. Amen. Amen. I invite you all to stand as you are able for the hymn of the day.